Hello everybody, welcome to Unit 3 Biology Area Study 2. Today we are looking at biotechnological applications of biochemical pathways. So looking at the applications of photosynthesis and respiration. We're going to be looking at the potential uses and applications of CRISPR-Cas9 technologies, and we looked at that previously in a video as well, but we're looking specifically now at how it can improve photosynthetic efficiencies and crop yields. And we'll also be looking at the application of anaerobic fermentation for biofuel production. So as a summary, as I'm sure you've all done this in class already, we're going to look at CRISPR-Cas9 technology and how it can be used. So we know that it can be used to edit genomes and looking at agricultural crops and potentially improving the yields of produce that we would like. Just to refresh, we know that CRISPR are basically sequences of DNA, that act as an adaptive immune system within prokaryotes like bacteria. And it's also Cas9 that is the enzyme, the endonuclease, that can cut and glue DNA back together. So Cas9 can be instructed by CRISPR, and it will be able to target specific DNA recognition sites to cut, join, and alter the DNA where we need it to. So because of the discovery of CRISPR-Cas9, we're now basically able to possess a novel gene editing tool that's very precise, it's affordable, and it's an alternative that could aid global agricultural productivity as well. So researchers are really busy with CRISPR-Cas9 studies and experiments that are happening to, engineer more productive crop species, and ideally it's going to increase the yield of crops, so increase the amount and the quality of crops that we can grow and harvest on a really, really large scale. And things like cereal grains, so wheat and barley, and vegetables like potatoes and tomatoes, or fruits like apples and bananas, we can really make sure that we're getting the produce that is quality and on a much larger scale. So the potential changes to crops, we can basically look at the production enhancement. So looking at the compounds that it involves, making things last longer, and improving the nutritional value of things. We can look at the actual plant organelles. We can increase chloroplast efficiency, so making sure that more photosynthesis can be occurring. We can look at adjusting the stomata to improve how much carbon dioxide is being taken in. We can improve light capture via the chloroplast, so looking at the grana and their role. We can look at chemical resistance, so looking at bacterial herbicide resistance or pesticide resistance as well. We can look at disease resistance, so increasing the immunity of plants against viruses and bacteria. We can increase and look at physical tolerance, so the intolerance to frost and making sure that, cold weather, how can we protect our plants from that? Drought tolerance as well, and heat, so the other end of the temperature spectrum. We can look at the Calvin cycle, so looking at how we can modify the activity of other enzymes in the Calvin cycle. We can look at modifying rubisco's activity. We can look at changing C3 plants to C4 or CAM plants. And we can look at introducing alternative routes for photorespiration. So there's a lot that can be happening with this technology, and a lot of it is to do with how we can make sure that our produce, is as good as it can be. So we can see here with our tomato plant, how we can improve that tomato plant. So we can increase the photosynthesis efficiency, we can increase the yield, and we can increase plant growth. We look at wheat, we can increase again the photosynthesis effectivity, the agricultural yield, and the plant growth of that as well. In terms of anaerobic fermentation, we know that biofuels are made from organic materials like biomass, which is a plant and animal material that can be sourced from different industries, whether that be agriculture or forestry, and it offers an alternative to our normal fossil fuels, so things like coal and gas, which aren't renewable sources of energy. Biofuels basically are made by the process of fermentation. So it's the breakdown of starches and sugars in plants that's converting that glucose into ethanol and carbon dioxide. So it's that ethanol that's going to be that natural byproduct of the fermentation process, and that can be harnessed and refined to make the biofuel that we need. So if we were to compare sort of fossil fuels versus biofuels, In terms of sustainability, biofuels are a lot more sustainable than renewable energy compared to fossil fuels that are non-renewable. Biofuels, definitely the source is those crops and plant residues, whereas fossil fuels rely on fossilized organic matter that is formed over millions and millions of years. And the environmental impact of fossil fuels results in high carbon emissions, whereas biofuels are largely carbon neutral as well. So an example of a type of biofuel is bioethanol, which is widely used in petrol. Okay, and the process of creating bioethanol can be some of these steps as well. So this is an application of looking at biofuel production. So sourcing and deconstruction of the actual biomass that we're looking at, breaking down the starch and the cellulose into glucose molecules. Okay, the ethanol production via anaerobic fermentation, and the dehydration and purification of that bioethanol. So this hopefully provides you a little bit of a summary with the uses of CRISPR-Cas9 technology and also of anaerobic fermentation. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I will happily answer some of those as well. Have a great day. Bye.